Let's get it, my man Colin with Powerz for the pregame interview, if you will. Getting ready to preview this upcoming matchup between eUnited and Retirement. It's going to be a fun one, man. A lot of storylines in this one, that's for sure. But joining us on the desk for the very first time, I got to take a moment to introduce the one and only LatAm Fools, one of the winningest and most accomplished coaches in Gears esports history. Now live with us on the desk. Ryan, how you feeling? And start to preview this Retirement roster a little bit for me.
I'm feeling very, very good. I had to let Toby get on there and open it up, but I couldn't escape the desk, man. I had to be here with you guys one way or the other. And I'm very excited to see the first match that I'm going to be on the desk for being eUnited versus Retirement. This Retirement team's definitely an interesting one, right? A lot of storylines flowing from the name itself, right? A couple players who kind of stepped away from the game for a little while, coming back. Of course, they saw that money in the line. They had to put the battle rifle down for a minute. You got Cellz, you got Kenny. But what I'm excited about in this team, man, is look at that right side of your screen. You got SuMuNs and CinimaZ, two brothers playing on the same team. We rarely see that in esports. A lot of times we see it in Halo, guys like Roy and Lunchbox, obviously the Ogres. Very, very cool to see two brothers competing. And this is a very, very high-level team. They, of course, came through, obviously, the challenger side of the world, right? Because a couple of them weren't playing the game as much earlier on. But now you guys know these are some of the most accomplished players in Gears history. I'm looking at those two in the center. This is a team that no one can sleep on.
That's absolutely true. Champions that have done it time and time again. CinimaZ obviously the big question mark there, but it's such a fun part of this roster, such a fun storyline to discuss. On the flip side, we got this United roster that honestly struggled for the last year in the KCP era, but they're different. Ribs, talk me through United.
This eUnited roster, it's their event to win, and I'm looking at the guy in the dead center, TJ. I want him to pick up that role that Kenny kind of left. It's funny, too, because Dyslexic came in, right? And he is one of the best players that we had, but he put in his Twitter profile that he was the IGL eUnited. I think he's trolling. I think he's doing what these Gears players do best. They kind of just joke around. I think it's really TJ and Powerz that are their main vocal leaders, and all of these players have been slaying out. I want to see Demise slay out specifically. He's playing a lot of important roles, and I really like his gameplay, his play style. He kind of does what his team needs him to do. Keep in mind, though, this team has been on a ridiculous win streak. They lost week 1, Ryan, and then continued to win 7 matches in Pro League. They've won 4 emergence days in a row. We had 5 emergence days. They didn't play in the first one because they didn't have their full roster available. So this team has a full head of steam going forward. I want to see them continue on. They're kind of like that example of peaking at the right time. They peaked at the perfect time, and now here it is to prove it in the major.
Yeah, so we just previewed both rosters here. Absolute star-studded lineup. If you've been watching Gears Esports for a while, you remember Optic, Kenny Bounce, Optic SuMuNs. Well, they're joining back on Team Retirement. Such firepower on that squad, joined with a young god in Cellz and the younger brother of SuMuNs. That's going to be such a good matchup to lineup and roster to keep an eye on all tournament long. And then, of course, you have United, former, I guess, way back when Optic Gaming squad. The DNA of this team has changed so much since then, right? Powerz, the rookie who burst onto the scene in Gears 4, arguably the best player in the world in Gears. I mean, it's disgusting what he does. When you watch him play, he looks like a Super Saiyan. So incredibly talented. Joined alongside TJForce, 21-year-old from New York. Excited to see what this squad can do. It's going to be so much fun to watch these two rosters. And with that said, map picks and bans are ready. We have a new format here. Ryan, walk us through the bans here to start.
Yes, you are going to see a ban of Spire Control. You're going to see Reactor Control being banned. Clock Tower Execution, Checkout Execution, and Harbor Escalation. So interesting to kind of see, really when I look at this, I mean, this Retirement team, right? They're not going to be the most practiced team, right? So I think from there, obviously they have enough footage on all of these teams to know, okay, that we think a team like eUnited, we probably can't take them on Spire Control, right? We've seen what they can do. You see Dyslexic and Powerz. And so to me, like I said, when you have these situations where you have a very, very accomplished team that's been practicing a lot, playing early together versus one of these teams who really doesn't have a ton to lose, to me, I look a little bit less at sort of the ins and outs of the picks and bans, and I look at you just trying to take away those very comfortable maps. It makes me think back to maps like Foundation back in Gears of War 4. So definitely cool to see this new pick ban system. And then we go over to the picks, and Jordan kind of take us through it and tell me your thoughts.
Sure. Retirement's going to go ahead and pick District Control to be our first map. eUnited will pick Ephyra. Then we're going to go to map number 3, Training Grounds Escalation. That's Retirement's pick, keep in mind. eUnited picks Ritual, and then if we get there, map number 5 will be Tomb. And as I look at this, I mean, it's pretty standard Retirement. As we do know these players so much, we don't know this specific roster and where they want to go forward. But on the side of eUnited, I like their picks. I love Ritual and Tomb being the last 2 picks. And of course, we saw that eUnited got, on the 3rd map, they got rid of I forget which Escalation it was, but them on Training Grounds, I think they left Training Grounds and Vazgar open, which is perfect for eUnited because they're so strong on those 2 Escalation maps.
There you have it. That's our map picks and bans. That's what we're going to see today. Let's go ahead and talk through some keys to success, keys to victory for these two teams, starting with eUnited. Ryan, what are the keys to success for the United squad?
Well, the first key to success is my favorite phrase in all of esports. Play your game. Playing fast and letting your slayers do the work. Now, you talk about this eUnited team, right? They have two of the highest sort of high-flying slayers in the game between Powerz and Dyslexic. They just got to do what they do. You heard Powerz in that interview kind of say that they try to play the game sometimes like a wager, right? And obviously in wagers, players, they don't really care about your right hand. They don't really care about your positioning. They're going to fly at you and they're going to make you make the right play. And a lot of times they think you're not gonna, and that's why those players are just so scary on the map. But the most important thing I think about this match is going to be not to underestimate the competition, right? Obviously at a major, you shouldn't underestimate anyone in the competition, but this time around especially, you have 2, 3, 4 players who have been there time and time again. I'm looking obviously mostly at Kenny and SuMuNs, guys who have won countless events. So to me, those are two guys you definitely do not want to underestimate. I don't care how much practice they have or don't have. Those are guys that come into events ready to win.
On the flip side, we got retirement. Ribs, what do they need to do to win?
Yeah, our 2 keys to victory for retirement. Don't hold back and trust your teammates. I love these keys to victory. You have to play like you have nothing to lose, because honestly, you don't. The team name is retirement because we all forgot about these players. We thought they moved on, and then 2 weeks before the event, they kind of make a ragtag pickup team. They know they have what it takes to get through open, and then here they are with those teammates. Trust your teammates. On the side of SuMuNs, he's trusting his younger brother to come here, be part of his crew, be part of his team on the highest level and try to get them through one of our top contending teams. If you don't have trust in that scenario, you're never going to be able to upset a team like United.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's time for predictions. I made the mistake in following Ribs last time around by picking the Wichita Wolves. Not making the mistake again, so I'm going to go first. eUnited 3-1? 3-0. 3-0. Ribs, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I went for the bold pick on Wichita Wolves, and I still think that they have a lot to prove throughout this week, and I think they'll kind of pick it back up. This time around, I will go with the United. This is a safe pick. I think this is the best the United has looked in the KCP era on the side of coming to maybe win an event. And yeah, you really can't sleep on this United roster. They look good for a reason, and they are on quite a long win streak, like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the obvious pick in this matchup is going to be eUnited. I think it's going to probably be a 3-0. There's a chance I can see them maybe taking the execution, if anything. I just don't see this retirement team taking a respawn on this eUnited team. They're just looking too strong. Their teamwork's looking great. Obviously, they have a ton of individual skill. I think it's just too much of a hill to climb for sort of a last-minute team.
That's right. Well, Gears Esports, multiple game modes, respawn game modes, all back. It's not just escalation anymore. We got escalation, control, and execution for those that are maybe watching a major for the first time in a long time. Welcome back to Gears Esports, or welcome to Gears Esports if you're tuning in for the first time. The most hype, the most entertaining esport in existence. And guess what? We got a marquee matchup ready for you. eUnited versus Retirement. The battle of the old goats, really. Kenny, back-to-back champion to kick off Gears 5 with his duo Powerz, aka Powerz, on the side of eUnited. They're now playing against each other for the very first time. I mean, that alone is quite the storyline, isn't it, Ribs?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and I think Kenny's going to get a rude awakening. I mean, that was a duel all throughout Gears 5. They even switched teams after winning an event and went on to win another event. Yeah. All the while, we always hype up Kenny. We say he is the type of player that deserves to be on these top teams. But Powerz is just a complete different beast, and I can't wait to see these two duke it out. The first time we're seeing this, it's quite the storyline. Powerz is the better player, though, Ryan. I'm sure you agree.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's kind of hard to put anyone up against Powerz, right? At any point, whether it's in Gears 5, late stage Gears 4, I mean, the guy is just unbelievable at the video game. There's no way around it.
Yeah, it's an absolute fact. One of the best players, if not the best player in all of Gears. Well, hey, someone that has a lot of love for Kenny and Powerz is Colin the Crow Clark. We're going to welcome him to the broadcast for the very first time alongside Jacob, looking swagged out PR himself. Colin, how we feeling, brother?
I couldn't feel any better. You're giving me eUnited and Kenny Bounce first thing on a Friday. Come on now. Come on now. Shoot. It's like you put this fat boy in front of a buffet and it was all his.
Colin just sees Kenny's head on top of a chicken turkey breast. He gets all types of excited, wants to just nom, nom, nom. Right? Well, boys, hey, I'm going to throw it over to y'all. Good luck with the cast. Enjoy the cast. We're excited. Thanks for putting on the show for us, guys. Over to you.
Welcome into the caster side of things, ladies and gentlemen. As they said, I am Colin the Crow Clark, and I am getting to join the magnificently iced out Jacob MVPR on this morning. But I couldn't let you get away with the only guy on the desk wearing a chain. But I got a little bit of a different chain on, Jacob.
What is your chain? What do you got for me?
I'm a gear through and through, and everybody knows that, so I got on my dog tag with my cog tag, baby. You know how I get down.
It. I love it, Colin, but guess what? You know, I'm not iced up enough. I'm not cold enough. I'm not ready. We call me PR4 chains. We are evolving before our very eyes, just like eUnited looking to evolve. Will the student now become the master as Powerz takes on his old friend Kenny Bounce? And all I gotta say about Kenny Bounce, you can try to leave us, brother. You can try to go wherever you want. We will always drag you back in.
Well, I mean, Kenny can't leave me. He's my dad. So, I mean, it's like he can't just abdicate his responsibilities as my father. I mean, it would be really weird for me if he was like, I'm done with you. I'd be like, come on now. Come on, Dad.
As he wins another champion, just walks off into the sunset.
No.
But this is going to be a championship that he has to earn, especially if he kind of takes it out of the hands of Powerz, who's looking like one of the best players in Gears Esports, and by far, by a margin as well.
Well, let's see if they can start their campaign on District. They've got to win a control against an eUnited squad that has probably the biggest and most amazing comeback I've ever seen on this map. They were down over 180 points to Fury 1 and decided the Fury is one with us. We will absorb you, overwhelm you, and destroy you. They took care of business. So that tells me that eUnited has all the firepower needed to win a district control. I'm curious to know if Kenny and SuMuNs might be able to formulate a little bit of a game plan to try to take over this map 1, though.
Can I echo the sentiment of the analysts? Seeing these two brothers of destruction kind of reunite on this same roster, I think this is the type of love I want to see today. Just hopefully they can fire off on all cylinders. The perfect team worked intact. The 1v1s are set. That is going to be Demise versus the young gun of CinimaZ, and the rest of the experienced players are all going to fight this big battle. Cellz gets first blood onto Dyslexic. SuMuNs drops shortly after. Kenny's forced back, and he's going to get dropped by Powerz, and it looks like eUnited will gain that final control over this hill. But Cellz, he's trying to defend it. He's trying to say something about it, but he's going to get shut down all the same. eUnited will not only get that first blood, well, they get first on the hill.
I really enjoyed that from eUnited. They were able to take care of the pincer move by retirement by focusing on the player that had the more damage. They knew they had Kenny kind of tagged up. They pushed into him to kill one side, and then they could double focus the other side of that in Cinema Hill. They're already inside of it, 30 points and counting. TJ will be the line of the defense for his squad. He's going to be pushed here by Kenny first and foremost on that lamppost. First back A by TJ. Doesn't get as much damage as he probably likes. Kenny's going to push him out now. They have a chance to kind of get some points here just in case they want to be able to get back into this one, try to knock this one up as close as humanly possible. Cellz is going to get called out inside of the juice. Powerz is going to push in against him. Powerz is full red, but hits a big first shot onto Cellz. Cellz, thankfully for his team, gets the double kill and that new drop shot as the Powerz will be just roaming around on the ground, have to go ahead and bleed out here. That's a good retake and a good settle in from the side of retirement, in my book. SuMuNs, though, will get taken out in the final few waning seconds to the hill. Cellz with the drop shot at the top side of the map. Powerz last time threw a perfect shock here and didn't have it come to fruition and wastes the drop shot. He has no intel and throws it through the smoke.
This is just phenomenal gameplay so far, coming out from retirement, as eUnited might have been sleeping on him. Something I think the Wichita Wolves was a definite factor of in that first match. So with the pushback coming through, eUnited trying to take control. Great cross from Dyslexic from around the map. In fact, great cross from everybody to solidify those 2 eliminations, but that upward spawn point is still going to go over to this retirement squad. So they're not going to have to waste long. Not too much time is going to get clicked off the clock before they get that second attempt to try to push the hill once more.
Cellz is going to be pushing to the top side of that stairwell. Go for the neutralization position. He's going to get that first shot toward Dyslexic. Maybe get some extra help from the Lancer and push him off. 35 seconds left on this hill. That will keep it neutralized momentarily. This is one of the few hills in Gears that is extraordinarily hard to keep neutralized without a shocker and incendiary, or to keep it in your control without a shocker and incendiary to block out that top stairs. Another good shock from eUnited and a flank from eUnited will amass 3 to 4 kills from 3 in total. Kenny's now in the juice getting pincered out. Powerz has a big Take first shot on him, flashbang out over the top, gets the stun, but I believe Powerz has the help. Kenny bouncing around, trying to stay alive, tries to get the shot over the top. No go. Powerz shuts him down. 10 seconds left, and they will already call out that Cellz and the boys from Retirement rotating over to the ATM side of the map. 3 players coming to the front door. Big first down from Cellz, but is not going to be able to clean it up. Smoke out from Powerz, flash in secondarily. The snub is there. One player runs in. It's TJ. He gets shut down. Now it's Dyslexic trying to push out towards SuMuNs. Gets the down on him, but Cellz, he knows that Powerz was lurking. That Shinigami himself was waiting in the wings, so he had to turn and try to burn. 2v1 against Cellz. One down comes through. The chunk, the melee, the reset. Cellz, too big, too strong. Not on this day.
Every single time, I think eUnited is waking up. They're beginning to go ahead and put a big difference in the scoreline. Retirement, they do just that. They come out of retirement to come back and try to put a chopping to the lead, but they lose SuMuNs. They lost Kenny. This is a 4v2 opportunity for this eUnited squad, who also possess the drop shot. Who's going to miss? It's going to come up short onto Cellz, who's going to be able to waste so much time. In fact, it's actually no time being wasted. Cellz and Kenny both get dropped off the map in a blink of an eye. CinimaZ doing what he can, but he's going to get shut down all the same. Only person able to make something happen was SuMuNs. He gets one, but he immediately puts himself in a disadvantaged spot against Dyslexic and Powerz. So that is immediately going to go right out the window, and Retirement have to start back from square one.
This is a very interesting situation as they get that kill, but it gives CinimaZ a pretty decent respawn right there toward the bottom of the map. They can set up across the entirety of it, 4 deep. They're going to have 2 on the left, 1 in the mid, 1 on the right. Demise has a big 1v here against SuMuNs. Second shot does connect. SuMuNs at the backside of that cover. Needs to hit one more, but the misroll will cost him his life. And now Kenny has to run away. Kenny has to rotate over and know that they've got to find a kill somewhere because the numbers advantage is going to be a little too great to overcome. eUnited's going to double push into Kenny. Kenny tries to hit the first shot, misses it. Now up phase on the left hand and Demise, but goes down as well. Dyslexic finds Cellz. CinimaZ the only answer back thus far in the round, but Powerz like Superman. I told you, he's the Shinigami, baby. He controls life and death. He says, CinimaZ, you thought you had one? Nah, I'm saving my teammate. I'm putting you on respawn.
And CinimaZ, he's going to learn quick call. You have to clean up those eliminations, especially if you're going into back-to-back fights. You got to take it where you can because a revive can come through in the blink of an eye. Kenny gets drops. SuMuNs goes out. Demise was the only player lost on eUnited, so full control is going to go over to this squad, and they spot out CinimaZ, so they know exactly where these players are going to spawn from. Powerz is trying to go one up in the advantage, but he oversteps his boundary. That's going to be a big elimination. Demise is going to get caught out as well. 2 downs coming in. TJ's trying to clean him up. He goes back-to-back, turns, tries to get the third, but the young gun CinimaZ is going to shut him down and try to contest this hill. But with Kenny getting that drop shot, you know as well as I do, they have to be very, very effective in how they use this. They cannot waste it for that scrap time. They have to wait for that perfect moment for eUnited to push through a setup that they already possess.
And Jacob, I've seen a lot of it already today, and I know a lot of people might question this tactic, but let the people know. How effective is that snub when you're trying to get out that last second damage? You're trying to just rotate out the RPMs on that DPS.
It's so effective, especially if you got one of those fast trigger fingers, able to hit the headshots. It does a massive amount of damage, especially at that close range. Cellz, though, he's going to get traded. TJ and Dyslexic, because Dyslexic goes back-to-back in terms of eliminations, catching Kenny out as well. As it looks like Retirement are beginning to stumble. They're beginning to fumble and behave as a little bit more as individuals than anybody would hope.
You know, I'm going to say this, Jacob. It looks to me right now like Retirement they're rotating early. They're getting into the hills first and foremost. But the slaying power from eUnited right now has just been too overwhelming at all this round. I mean, every time Retirement gets into a hill, gets set up, gets ready for the push from eUnited. eUnited says, hey, look, we are no slouches. We are the 4 of the best players on the planet. We're going to take care of business. CinimaZ 1v here against Powerz. He's going to get tagged up from inside of the juice, so he has to reset his health. Smoke will come out. Powerz will rotate up to the top of the map. I like that call from Powerz. He knows Kenny's been tagged up, and Kenny has to get out of dodge before he gets taken down. He's rotated out now. Powerz is maybe looking for him. Kenny pushes back against the wave of momentum from eUnited. 3 players kind of in the middle of the map, but look at the way that they have basically bled out this entire hill, up over 230. It's going to become that much harder. Every single waning second now is important for Retirement in this map 1.
You need like 4, possible 5 straight consecutive team fights. Doesn't have to necessarily be perfect and consecutive, but that's how down they are in terms of the scoreline. They spot out Powerz. Great damage coming in from Kenny. You see SuMuNs and him trying to finish those eliminations. Demise gets that drop shot. I love it. Demise knows exactly the play that needs to be made. I can't be the hero to try to save Powerz because I will cost me my life. It'll cost me the drop shot and a possible way to close out the game in this battle. 1v1. Dyslexic versus Cellz. Dyslexic wins yet another one, and that gives them the go-ahead advantage.
They've got one player in front of them. The drop shot in the hands of Demise. I believe Demise is going to use it on the player in the hill. Gets the body shot there, basically damaging him up. CinimaZ is going to go down. SuMuNs has to rotate in for the quick revive. Team revive's not there and not quick enough. They're going to get taken out. Up to Cellz to try to make another Herculean effort here. Back A over the top. TJ, though, too good at the angle. Gets in for the back A himself. Rolls back after the down, and they're going to let him crawl around, bleed it out, and think about what he's done. Dyslexic on the angle, on the flank of Kenny. Kenny is going to go down to that Lancer from inside of the info, and Dyslexic will continue his reign of terror. If he can kill CinimaZ right here, it will be that much more pertinent. But look at the way that Retirement had an angle off a respawn, and now they're having to focus on two different fronts. Powerz one shot over the top, gets the body onto Cellz, baits the up A, and his Cellz double bounces. He hits the full spread, puts him down, puts him dead. Powerz is commanding too much attention this entire map. Too good, too strong, too fast out here for them boys.
I think that last thing that what you said, too fast and too strong, and that's what eUnited has been toying into. They've been playing into it almost every single one of these hill rotations. They get that one-man advantage. They press forward to continue to try to slay out their opponents, to continue staggering out those deaths, and as soon as they end up in a situation just like this, where every single member is up, it just takes one pick, one opportunity, but that can be said on the other side of Retirement as well. Cellz was able to get that go-ahead onto Powerz, immediately shut down by TJ, but SuMuNs goes back-to-back where it matters on the hill as TJ doing everything he can, but I do think the Brothers of Destruction will finally have struck, but CinimaZ needs to get two different revives onto his players, but CinimaZ goes down, CinimaZ drops, Powerz is there to save the day, and eUnited will be gifted the win towards the very ending of this match. The expertise pays off at the end.
eUnited is standing on a different plane of existence right now. Retirement had such a good gamey first couple of points. Points 1 through 3. eUnited stuck with them. They were Retirement stuck with eUnited. They were right there. It was neck and neck. eUnited said, oh wait, you want us to turn it on? You want us to drop it into fourth gear, maybe even fifth gear? You want us to start pumping this out like we were on the highway? They started finding kills everywhere on the map. Didn't matter if there was one player from Retirement or all four. eUnited just continued to keep them on the back foot that entire map one, Jacob. And I really do believe it starts and ends with that guy I got to interview in the pregame, the one and only Powerz. We heard John say he is arguably the best player on the planet. A lot of them arguments been sounding real weak lately.
I mean, to me, it's hard to make a case for anybody else. You might have couple individual players on the Pioneers. You got to make a case for a couple of guys on the Pittsburgh Knights. Identives had a heck of a week a few weeks ago, but I think it's just the consistency. Even if it's in some of the wins like you're seeing here, how he's affecting the game, but the thing is, it's in the losses as well. And a lot of those losses, it's him who's the shining and glimmering hope, and they're able to come back. And I'm not talking about losses in series. I'm talking about those little losses, those little moments in each and every one of those maps, but you got to give it up to Retirement for at least the early portions of the game to taking eUnited by surprise, and I do think that was the case. eUnited was a little caught off guard by the players of Retirement and how well they were working together on the first few hills, to where it went a little bit later towards the mid portions of the game. They turned it on and realized, hey, we need to go ahead and tighten up a little bit. And since that moment happened, they found that first pick, they stretched it in more, they set up, they were able to hold their setups and did almost everything to perfection on the side of eUnited.
I also think, I mean, my main reasoning for just really harping on how great Powerz is as of late is the fact to me that Powerz is coming across like one of those Hall of Fame wide receivers. He's a he could be a Hall of Fame outside linebacker, somebody that's requiring a tight end and an offensive lineman to block him, maybe requiring a corner and a safety to guard him. He's requiring Retirement to send so many different players around the map after him, and that's what I think is giving eUnited an edge in a lot of these matchups. The closest we've come to see them stumble is, I believe, when week one they had that loss in Pro League to the Pittsburgh Knights. Pittsburgh Knights figured out the game plan late in that ritual. Very late in that map 1 ritual. And the fact for me is that they started just targeting Powerz. They were not going to let him flank. They were not going to let him get kills. They said, if we find him alone on the map, we focus him out, we get him down and out, and then we take care of the rest of the 3. Because as good as TJ, Demise, and of course Dyslexic are, I mean, you cut that Powerz head off of that dragon. I can't say Hydra because there's more than 3 heads, you know what I'm saying, though. But if you cut one of them heads off that dragon, the rest of the body starts to try to figure it out itself out. It's like, what move do we make next? How do we rotate now? And instead, Powerz is usually there. He'll get a kill or 2, and he'll be like, all right, guys, settle down. And that's just how it works.
And it makes it easy when you have Powerz like that. And then on the other side, we're talking so much about Powerz. It makes everything easy, even Powerz' job, because of how great TJ, Demise, and Dyslexic are playing with him getting loose and slaying around the map. And I'm going to say on the flip side of that thing, retirement. We've seen Kenny. We've seen Cellz and SuMuNs down in a hole before and climb themselves out of it. My biggest question mark is going to be CinimaZ. Not only after a beatdown like that, but after that fumble of a play to end the game. 2 of his teammates down. I do believe it was possibly TJ that might have been down as well, but he himself hops over the cover and goes down to the shock, and there's 3 players of retirement down, which kind of gives over that win, not on a silver platter, but probably a gold platter, just like these chains, because it was that easy for them to just take it at the end. Do you think that plays a factor at all in CinimaZ's mind, or you think with a brother like SuMuNs, one of the best players in Gears esports history, he can kind of have a pitcher's mentality, he can shrug himself off and pick himself up?
I think it's not only SuMuNs, but also having Cellz and Kenny. Just the fact that he's got 3 vets around him, because I'm pretty sure the conversations before this major was, CinimaZ, there's literally negative pressure on you. The 3 of us retired. That's why we're called retirement. You are the young gun. Yeah, you might want to prove yourself to try to move up the ladder, get on a better team, but there's not a thing you can do that we're really going to be mad at you about. Play your hardest, give us your best effort, and when it comes to these matchups, when we know we're going up against a team like eUnited, we might take our lickings, but just give us your best effort every time off a respawn, and we can't be mad at you because we know what you're capable of. We know what you bring to the table. That's why you're even rolling out of spawn with us in the first place. The bigger question to me is how they handle the respawn game modes, because control and escalation to me are going to be their weak points, because they have Cellz and CinimaZ. I haven't seen enough footage on him to be like, oh, he's going to step it up and be that standout slayer. They've really got one powerhouse on the front lines, and that's Cellz, because we all know that Kenny's going to try to IGL. He's going to try to put the troops in the right spots, and he can make plays himself, but it's incumbent upon him to also be the egghead. SuMuNs, he'll win some 1v1s, but he's not going to be the powerhouse slayer. That's the thing that worries me in the respawns for this team. But coming into execution, that big brain of Kenny's, that long-time execution mind of SuMuNs might be able to come up with some strategies, might be able to kind of man up here, say, look, we're going to get 2 players down to the torque boat, ensure that we don't let Powerz get that freebie every round. We're going to make sure we rotate through the middle map, something, anything. It can happen in execution for them. I think that's going to be their bread and butter, and they're going to have to steal, maps 1-4 or 1-3 or 4 away to try to win any series.
Yeah, I kind of agree. The executions, retirement has to win those executions. They have the IGL. They have, the way it's round by round to switch up strategies, and one of the best brains on the side of Kenny. And when it comes to when it comes to the actual escalation match, I think that is going to be telling for the match when it comes to retirement, because even though you're talking about those respawn style of the game types, it's a little bit different than control. You're not going to get spawned behind. You're not going to have to block any spawns. You're not going to have to do any sort of that work. It's kind of clear cut straight in front of you. So if they get a setup, they have that possibility of being able to hold it. But I noticed one thing. You didn't indirectly say it, but you said Cellz was kind of that lone slayer towards the front line. And a lot of our top elite teams, they have multiple slayers. So I always feel like indirectly, you're looking at CinimaZ to step up and be that second slayer for retirement if they're going to have success.
Without a doubt, and I mean, Cellz is a big man. He's got broad shoulders, and I can tell you definitively that Cellz, to me, will always be able to slay out for whatever squad he's on. That's why Cellz was one of the more upsetting kind of stepping away from the game players for me, because I know what he's capable of. First round here on execution, 2v2 push inside the middle. SuMuNs is going to try to rotate down very quickly onto Powerz. Hits a wrap shot on the left hand, but can't get enough damage to allow CinimaZ to get the down. Now CinimaZ is going to get taken out by Dyslexic. I believe Cellz realizes that There's some trouble brewing. We might have a disconnect here. Something might be going on here.
Why swap at the timer? Everything's
Okay.
90 seconds. Everything's 90 seconds.
Okay. All right. You had me. You got me. I was curious. I was like, baby, what's going on here? What's going on? What are we
I'm
doing?
all for a drop shot coming up every 90 seconds. I don't think they're for it though. I don't think that causes too much commotion.
Hey, yo,
That causes
right now,
too much
shout out
chaos.
one time Shadows and Rar and all them guys on the content creation side, though. A drop shot every 90, put it to 60. Let these bad boys have power weapons every minute.
Nah, they're saying, Colin, calm down. We don't want the drop shot. We want the sniper.
Yeah,
we
the
want
torque bow.
we
You're
want
right.
These
You're right.
precision weapons.
Hey.
We want that marksman that's tweaked like a breach shot. Give us that every 90 seconds. Every 60.
I gotta ask
you know
you.
what? Let us spawn with it.
Did you ever play the one shot, one kill that had the piercing damage with the long shot?
No, I didn't.
Some of them clips where people be shooting at one teammate and be popping like 2-3 skulls. I'm sitting out here like, I can't even get one. Oh, that's right. The bullet's going straight through. That's a big, they were getting mad collats. And then I thought about it and I was like, please, like, as good as it is to see that amongst our montages against our content creation community. I mean, Witcho had some. Everybody was out there putting people on skates. I'm like, I really don't want to see Powerz get collaterals. I really don't need to know. I'm already afraid to just be in the same room as him with how deadly he is. I don't need him to have a sniper that can shoot through 2 people.
That's gonna be insane. He gonna headshot one, body shot the other, switch to his shotgun, reaction shot that one. It's just that's too much. That's too much to kind of handle and control. But after seeing a little bit of that first initial round, I'm going to say a few seconds of it. Is there anything that kind of caught your eye, anything that caught you off guard, any surprise, or was it kind of what you expected?
SuMuNs having to go through the middle of the map. I don't know if they can do that same game plan round number 1 because it's been called out now. SuMuNs threw a flash and immediately flew at Powerz. Powerz was ready for it. Granted, SuMuNs might have been able to hit a better shot. He even rolled after the shot connected, so he didn't really give him a chance to get a second shot off. But you could see the game plan. Like I said in the pregame, they were going to try to 2v Powerz, not give him a chance at that torque bow every round. And now their hand has been tipped. They know that they're going to push out toward Powerz, try to make sure that he doesn't get the torque bow. So I'm not sure if we're going to see, him be able to get shots onto anybody early in this. But I mean, if he does go crazy with that torque bow, I could easily see him maybe, getting like an E-swap X like power play. I mean, we could get him on the highlight reel, baby. We could get him on the highlight reel. You know how that goes.
It's definitely possible, but on the other side, man, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know you unofficially kind of said it in my head, at least. But yeah, I'm looking at CinimaZ to kind of step up and be that Slayer. And it could start here in these executions. It could start on Ephyra. SuMuNs, even on his past iterations of any of the rosters when it came to Ephyra, he does play the inside of the map. Why not let the 2 Brothers of Destructions let loose and kind of go off? But I will say they're going to have to be very, very wary because eUnited loves to send Powerz to beeline for that torque bow, especially if it's uncontested, because that's been a defining force in a lot of their victories when it comes to this map. But I do think, the only pressure, I agree with you, I don't think Kenny, Cellz, or SuMuNs are putting pressure on the CinimaZ by any means. This is a little bit of a LCQ last chance qualifier style team, but I think there is some pressure, but I think it's CinimaZ putting that pressure onto himself because as well as I do in ranked, I don't care if we're getting the victory. If I didn't play well, I feel like we lost. I feel like CinimaZ playing with some of the greats to come to Gears Esports might have that same mindset.
Let's see what they can do here. It looks like we're going to have the same setup. 1-2-1 here in the middle of the map. Dyslexic will go to the bottom of that stairwell and try to protect against the 2v1 onto Powerz. And he kind of gets baited out. Double kill in the middle. It looks like right here, Retirement did kind of change up their play call. They said, we're not going to double push Powerz off rip. We're going to bait you into that situation. We're going to make you think we're doing the same thing and try to take care of business. Powerz is going to see that CinimaZ is going to pick up the torque bow right in front of him. CinimaZ shot to the top. TJ is going to be full red. One more shot out of SuMuNs will get the down. Cellz, the only player dropping from Retirement in round 1. They pick up the first one.
I like the spread, though. I like the spread coming out of Retirement. You have Kenny Bounce. I want to call it a 1v1, but I use that term loosely depending on the strategy up top, kind of guarding that drop shot. You have SuMuNs and Cellz working the inside together, and that was a great successful round. And CinimaZ down low. I feel like CinimaZ's job is you can do whatever you want. Just don't let Powerz get that torque bow. And he held Powerz off, didn't let him affect any portion of that fight, and that became a great round for Retirement.
Cellz coming into the middle again. He's going to have the snub out. He's going to be picking Dyslexic off decently in the early goings, but he has to roll down to his teammate. 2v1 on to Cellz will get him out. Now SuMuNs is going to get 2v1, leaving CinimaZ in a 3v1. Kenny up top with a 1v1. I mean, I think that he knows that he has to try to win this quickly. try to give his teammate some chance. He's going to get that first kill, going to pick up that drop. He has 2 rockets in his hands. Demise will get shot on first. Kenny playing that thrash ball. Kate skin shot over the top will be a little bit too far, but he gets picked off from the torque bow of Powerz.
That was actually great planning by, what was that, Demise trying to push in and get that elimination onto Kenny. He realized Kenny had the drop shot in hands, right? Anything short of a perfect drop shot because of the distance was going to allow Demise to push up exactly like he did. So even though Kenny did a good job, it's winnable if he's able to create distance. They did not let that become a thing. No distance was created. Powerz was always revving that torque bow, waiting for that moment to strike. But back to the scene of the crime. 3 players inside this time around. Kenny decided to join the fight, and it works out. First blood onto Dyslexic, and already it seems like they're trying to turn. They're trying to take out the MVP Powerz on the low portion of the map. Even TJ is stuck in a tough spot here in a 2v1 as the last 2 members are going to be able to find that one onto Kenny. A possible 2v1 onto Cellz, but he shuts down Powerz, making the clutch opportunity that much harder. TJ finally gets shut down in retirement. We talked about these respawn game modes. They're definitely using them to their advantage.
And I like what retirement has done. 3 different rounds. They've shown 3 different kind of looks, whether they be head fakes, whether they be an extra rotation. Those guys have done a fantastic job up to this point of keeping the side of eUnited off of balance. And that's what they've got to do in this execution. They've got to make sure that eUnited doesn't get the fights that they want. They've got to make sure that eUnited understands that this is not going to be a simple 3-0. Retirement's going to throw flashes across the middle. Shot over the top. Now Cellz gets the first big body shot. Second was just a little bit, but it buys them enough time to get a 2v1 on a Powerz down low. The trade out comes through as Powerz is down, but also Cellz, Kenny, CinimaZ, and SuMuNs left alive for the team of retirement. We're going to be on board with Kenny. Hits one up A with the L with the left-hand side. 2 players left alive over the top of this cover. CinimaZ with torque in hand, revs up, shoots the torque, doesn't get a damaging shot. There's SuMuNs and CinimaZ versus the side of Demise and TJ. So basically brothers versus brothers here, because TJ and Demise might be a gruesome twosome that we've seen play together longer than any other.
Oh, nice play. He's getting control outside. That's probably overtime hill. Drop shot is still up as well. The thing is, these guys have a connection nobody in the game can say that they have. They have that brother connection, that blood connection. So there's a lot they're probably not going to have to communicate, especially in this scenario with control over that torque bow. SuMuNs is getting aggressed on, though, by TJ. And this is going to be a great opportunity here, causing some separation. SuMuNs grabs that drop shot. Doesn't go down just yet, but he has to continue pushing forward. CinimaZ, however, he goes down. Now SuMuNs has his hand full. Cannot use that drop shot. He's getting pressure from both sides. The walls are closing in. A fumble of a play, but he's still finding a way to stay alive and create some space. Unfortunately enough, the numbers game coming out of eUnited is going to catch up to him. TJ solidifies that down and elimination as eUnited ties up at 2 rounds apiece.
Now TJ and Demise winning that 2v2, that's got to be a big confidence booster for them, because again, here in this execution, 1 life to live every single round. eUnited done a good job to answer back both rounds that they've lost, so back and forth we go into round number 5. Coming into the fight, Dyslexic will get some Lancer out. They're going to get some damage, a ton of damage. They actually get a quick down onto SuMuNs. Cellz is going to rotate in for that revive. SuMuNs is off the round, gets the bounce around, but doesn't get a down or a kill. 2 straight kills come through for eUnited. Now Kenny trying to answer back, bouncing around as much as he can. He goes down. CinimaZ 1v3 situation. eUnited, they're going to surround him and take him out shortly. Back-to-back rounds for eUnited. They move on again in this round.
I'm loving CinimaZ play a lot in the past couple rounds. Not specifically that last that we saw, but I love how he's kind of pinning Powerz down. But I want to see him kind of evolve. I want to see him take that next step. And when his teammates start dying, he has to figure out a way to start making play. Because a lot of the time, when his teammates get eliminated in the middle and we jump on board him, he's still running from his side of the map. So as he grows, as the tournament goes on, I expect him to get a little bit more of that playmaking potential, that playmaking ability that we know his brother does possess. But when it comes to this middle of the fight, slowed down just for a moment. It allows someone to get in, but there goes the cross coming out from Powerz and down low. First blood going on over to eUnited, make it back-to-back eliminations as the Brothers of Destruction will go down.
Looking across the top side of the map, Cellz and Kenny, last alive for their team. Double bounce in from Dyslexic, gets that kill. Now Kenny all by himself. 1 drop shot will be thrown out, but won't be able to find anyone or anything. Kenny goes down. 3 rounds in a row for eUnited. They are now 2 rounds away from a 2-0 map count lead over the side of Retirement.
Full control, and this is where, as good as Retirement was looking, when push comes to shove, things get tough. That's when you really have to give it your all.
Good to be back.
Trying to look at the spread right now coming through. CinimaZ is now going towards the inside of the fight. It looks like an all-out push coming out from Retirement.
Retirement, they're going to push toward the drop shot. 2 players inside trying to make sure that nobody gets away for free inside of the hotel. Drop shot picked up by Cellz. Powerz will have the torque bow in hand. He's going to have 5 bolts to be able to pressure across here. Powerz looking over for Cellz. Cellz the one with the drop shot. He's going to get his head taken clean off by Powerz. Now 4 bolts left. He's 1 for 1. CinimaZ gets taken out, so the best he can do is 3 for 3 if he hits SuMuNs and Kenny, revving up that torque bow. 1 and 2 of 2 is the best he can do. SuMuNs last alive inside of the garage. Angled out, taken down. eUnited 1 round away.
And this is where Retirement, even though we talked about the lack of pressure a lot of these guys would be feeling, coming out of nowhere, qualifying through that LCQ, we know as well as I do, they don't want to lose all the same. So there's a minute amount of pressure as soon as that 5th round has been reached on a game mode that we kind of feel we both agree on is a must-win game mode for Retirement to have any shot in this series. So this is where perfection is needed. Another all-out push opportunity coming through from Retirement. That's going to give them that drop shot for free, but they're giving up that torque bow in the hands of Powerz, who's been deadly all season long.
Dyslexic might be able to try to check up Cellz here. SuMuNs is here with him, but SuMuNs has been called out. That's a great pick by them to get SuMuNs, and Powerz picks him off as he comes to the inside. Now finds Kenny, 2 for 2. 3 bolts left. Let's see if he can go for the ace as CinimaZ is in a 1v against TJ. TJ, though, finds the angle on the right-hand wrap, gets him, and Cellz finds himself in a 1v1 against Dyslexic, and that's hard for anyone to win. eUnited, Jacob, they are on top here, 2-0 over the side of Retirement, and they don't look to be slowing down anytime soon.
Slowing down is not going to be in their playbook, but we're going to slow down for a quick second because Retirement need this time to go ahead and figure out a strategy to come back. But before you know it, we'll be back with map number 3 of eUnited versus Retirement.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gears Winter Major. We are live with eUnited and Retirement. And eUnited, they are on top 2-0 right now. eUnited looking to close this one out into map 3. But Jacob, tell me, what impressed you most? Was it Retirement throwing out all those looks, or was that it was like eUnited had the answer sheet?
I mean, a little bit of both, right? In the beginning of both of the matchups, not just, the one that we've seen, they've impressed me on the side of Retirement. It looks like they can kind of contend with them to the start of the games, but when it prolongs just a little bit, and I wouldn't say prolong, but as the game progresses, I feel like they just kind of lose track of that teamwork. They start to play as individuals, and for eUnited, no matter if it's the beginning portions where they're just working together perfectly, or when they begin to kind of dissect and systematically take apart one by one, they look like the same consistent squad that we've seen all season long, and that's what impresses me most, I gotta say, is eUnited, no matter if they're playing against the best team like the Pittsburgh Knights or one of these LCQ style teams like Retirement, comprised of former pro players. They always have their game plan set in stone and they don't stray too far from it.
Training Grounds is going to be an interesting map for me, Jacob, simply because we can have all the different power weapon placements, and we have seen them used in great succession for multiple teams, whether it be at the U for a long shot M-bar type play, or maybe even under the hell closet of under Overlook, really, with the long shot or whatnot. And then, of course, the range is always lurking. I've actually seen teams go to that round 9, and then you'll have like a pair of frags thrown down at the range with that long shot under the Overlook. It can get real spicy. Do you think Retirement's best bet is to try to change up fights round by round, or are they going to have to just try to keep this thing neutral and just win their fights and possibly get retakes? Because as everybody knows with Escalation, when you come back off a respawn, you have a fresh set of utility grenades to throw at your opponent, so on and so forth.
I think right now when it comes to Retirement having a shot at winning, it's going to be putting that big weapon down, forcing a big team fight. And the reason why I say that is because what we've seen on District and what we've seen on Ephyra, the bigger they spread themselves out, the harder it does get for themselves. They need to take that quick and early fight, give themselves an advantage, and hold on to it as long as possible, because you can kind of agree with me, you can not agree with me. I don't think very many teams, not retirement here, not a lot of the teams we have that is in the bracket at all, are going to be able to outsmart and out-rotate this eUnited squad without outslaying them. Since retirement is unable to really outslay them single-handedly, they're not going to be able to out-rotate them convincingly and consistently. So in order for them to win, it starts with a big team fight to give themselves an advantage. Otherwise, they should or would be slowly losing a lot of these matchups.
I also look at this eUnited squad. You say it's really hard to outslay them. I really look at this eUnited squad's strength as being their speed, and we've heard it in multiple traditional sports. I'm going to use it here and now. Speed really does kill, man. If you're faster than your opponent, if you're always to the right spot, if you're always to that next position before your opponent can be or even thinks about being there, it gives you a definitive advantage. I mean, look at just last map where Powerz was able to get to that inside door before SuMuNs was trying to go for the filter. As soon as SuMuNs poked his head out, Powerz already had the torque bow revved, hits him with the quick pick, and then rotates to the middle window and catches Kenny off guard as Kenny tries to get to the top of the stairs.
I like this strategy. We've seen a lot of our Latin American teams pull out the same strategy, particularly the Pittsburgh Knights. We've seen them do it a lot. They overextend to try to get that neutral hill underneath their control, and then they try to get that point game. When the push like this comes through, once they find themselves in an advantageous position, that's when they're able to set up. So this fight is going to continue. Powerz finds a way to take down SuMuNs. Flank coming through from Dyslexic. That power duo that started the split are seeming to rise strong during this major, but that's not going to stop CinimaZ, the young gun, from going ahead behind enemy lines, getting this decap. This is important. As you watch the minimap, everybody from retirement come off spawn. CinimaZ rotations are going to be the most crucial of them all.
Powerz up top here is going to get shots down low onto multiple players. They're going to be caught out between 3 players from eUnited. You're going to see Cellz try his hand as he comes off of respawn here. 2 hills to contest for the side of retirement. The B hill is going to be overloaded by multiple players from eUnited. They're going to get into that B hill. Now they're going to be pressing back toward their own home hill. CinimaZ, he's going to get called out inside of the spawn here, and there's nowhere really for him to go. Trying to bounce up toward Demise, and there's Powerz with a great angle. Powerz is going to go to the 90 degree. They're going to have him trapped here. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, but the longer CinimaZ is up, the easier it might be for his teammates, because they can get a 3v2 somewhere else on the map, try to take back these hills very quickly. Dyslexic has Cellz full red. One more shot could get him down, but it comes from the overlook area. Demise is there for the 90 degree angle with the Lancer, getting the help, getting the down, and they get the kill. Now it looks like they're going to try to go home to home as Powerz is here defending up his own home hill. Shot around the top, left hand wrap, gets the down. Now gets Kenny on the top shot. Will get the trunk there on the second attempt. SuMuNs goes down, stuck between Demise and Powerz. My God, this has been back and forth, but retirement cannot find a steady footing.
I was saying, bro, maybe you should have stayed retired there, taking out SuMuNs, and that's a big statement from Powerz that he doesn't make all the time to a lot of these players. But then again, players coming out of retirement is not a common thing, but I don't like that push from retirement, because there was a player dead on eUnited. There was a player already on the hill and a player rotating from the neutral. So you have 3 players that are going to contest those 2 that are trying to push over. You needed to sacrifice a few seconds and make a play for the neutral, and that's why they put themselves in a little bit deep of a hole, because now they don't possess the high ground of the neutral. That allows Demise to go ahead and overextend and even have a Mr. Krabs opportunity here, forcing retirement to make a play.
Now Powerz is going to push across that U just to make sure that nobody's got that sneak over to the A hill, and nobody will get really across the map in time, but Dyslexic goes down to CinimaZ's Lancer. Now CinimaZ tries to bounce down into Powerz' face, but with 1 second to go, there's not enough time. Powerz, he roars with fierce ability as he gets 1 more kill to pad the stats in round number 1. eUnited 4 rounds away from a 3-0 victory over retirement.
Yeah, like I said, I think the defining push for retirement was that failed push going up across the top. It was a perfect recipe for eUnited, like I said, with a player directly on the hill already, 1 person towards that heaven spot, able to rotate from that neutral, and then another one off of respawn. It's just an uphill battle. So coming into this next round, eUnited, they have no pressure to put that big weapon down. And I want to say on the side of retirement, they don't feel that pressure just yet. But the way this game goes, and you'll see it kind of spread out and kind of go into a more strategy-based game on the side of eUnited, I want to see that big weepon go down towards the U.
pushing out toward the U. 3v3, 1v1 on the opposite side here. It looks like eUnited is going to match wits for wits, power for power, brawn for brawn here. Powerz will be the front line of offense for his squad. Pulls the Lancer to try to get some damage onto Kenny. Pulls back out the Nasher, gets a decent little hip shot there. Flashes over the top, gets multiple stuns, but Powerz has stunned himself, so he has to pull back. Full red. SuMuNs has checked him up. Now SuMuNs goes for the back A, up A. Won't be able to get that 1-2 punch to come into fruition for him and his squad. Everybody down across the map. It looks like eUnited going for a quick little triple cap domination here and go up 2-0 as last player really coming off a respawn will be CinimaZ. He's going to get chunked out before the hill is reset, but this thing won't last much longer. SuMuNs, he's going to be able to watch it just in time for the cap to come through. 2-0, United on top.
Yeah, that round looked a little bit cleaner on the side of eUnited. You get those early eliminations, one of them being, I do believe, on Cellz and that neutral hill. Who's currently sporting an 0-6 after 2 rounds, and we're kind of looking at him to be one of the slayers, him and CinimaZ. So if they're not performing well, you know the retirement is going to continue to have a hard time in this matchup, and that's why I favor that big weapon down. Stop the rotations, or at least minimize them until you have a big weapon in your hand that can certainly change the tides at a moment's notice. Everybody actually struggling here, even though, yes, you do leave some players down, but the only player that could have left anybody down is Kenny with 2 assists. Everybody else has donuts. They're opening up donut shops, and everybody gets a free sandwich.
Man, don't be tempting me with donuts again. You saw what happened last time I talked about donuts too much on broadcast. I had to go the next morning and get myself a dozen. Let's see what they have here in round number 3. It looks like toward the middle of the map, 2v2 bouncing out. TJ will get stunned, rotates back down the stairs, but he's going to go down. Cellz and Kenny looking to kill him, but Powerz will have the sneak on 1 now. First shot out onto Kenny. Second shot and third, good. Fourth hits some more pellets. The fifth is enough. And that's why you've got 8 in the chamber for the Nasher. If you've got to throw out 4 or 5 pot shots across the map.
God.
I'm telling you right now.
Nobody can do any wrong.
How proud is my man Praised after seeing an L Trigger fight come out like that? Is Praised somewhere smiling right now?
He definitely, especially how defensive it was. Nobody bouncing forward. They were just strafing back and forth. Heck, even had Franchise smiling ear to ear watching that one go down. And Powerz making sure CinimaZ can't smile at all as he's missing ahead. Lands another shot onto Kenny Mounts. Everybody is feeling the pressure. Kenny gets down underneath by TJ. That should easy be a cleanup. 2 more players being pressured on the side of retirement, trying to make a play. One of those is going to be Cellz. SuMuNs finally gets it down onto TJ, but I don't think that's going to be enough as they're trying to press forward. The elimination is going to be cleaned up. They have a 3v2 advantage, but for now, unless Powerz can go ahead and get neutralized, Dyslexic will fall. They continue to push forward on the side of retirement. They know they need to neutralize this hill because 50 points is the score differential now. As this one continues, it's going to get even bigger.
Retirement onto the B hill. Looks like Demise is stuck inside of the heaven for now until eUnited might be able to pressure out and get at least 1 kill. Powerz was bouncing around with a long shot in hand, looking to maybe find a quick pick there, maybe get a little reaction shot, headshot. That would have been absolutely nasty. Yeah, he's 10-0. I wasn't going to bring it up. You're not supposed to mention when a pitcher's throwing a perfect game. Good God, Jacob.
Oh, no. This next death was brought to you by me then? Is that what you're telling me? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But 1 shot in the chamber, sometimes that's all Powerz needs. That 1 opportunity. Strike from above, especially with that high ground. He's spotting his Cellz around. He spots Kenny across the top, giving out these calls for his teammates. That's going to give Demise the green light to go ahead and start this fight as a 1v1, knowing Powerz is going to be there to make sure. He goes through unscathed. Powerz almost gets shut down, but his teammate is there to save the day, to keep the perfection alive.
2 players from Retirement are going to come out through the middle of the map. You're going to see them press over to A. Retirement will now switch home hills. TJ will have to come off a respawn and try to challenge up against CinimaZ. We see as everybody spread across the map at this current moment in time, in this juncture, up over 200 points. The first team to recap a hill will take a definitive lead going into the final few seconds, and it looks like that is going to be the side of eUnited as they're going to get their home hill back, but now Retirement's challenging the C hill. Good kill there. Kenny, last player alive on his side. He's going to be full red, goes down, he'll be dead. All hills going in favor of eUnited, and as close as this one was, down to the wire, eUnited comes out on top yet again, 2 rounds away from perfection in their first matchup here, the Gears Winter Major.
This is the way, if you're an eUnited fan, you got to be cheering. Even though I did curse Powerz in his perfection, but I'm going to curse the next one. Somebody else has no death so far, so I'm going to go ahead and make that a possibility. So that way, hopefully, Retirement can make this a little bit closer of a game. You see Sniper being hovered over by Powerz. And I was going to say, I don't expect them to change it up. They want to get a shot grenade, maybe some instants for the instant kill potential. On the side of retirement, though, this is where I throw up those question marks.
I mean, there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of no, there's not going to be a drop. There's no way. They already put the long shot out. They're not going to split that up even further. You got to remember, one of the things that retirement has to understand is in this matchup, eUnited, I mean, they're looked at as one of the best teams in the game, if not the best team. They finished second in the Pro League overall, so you're going up against one of our juggernauts. Just trying to confuse them might not work out to the best of your advantage simply because they're just going to continue moving forward in their slaying ability. Dyslexic is going to be fully red here. Cellz to his right, SuMuNs to his left. They double flash him and they push up. They're going to 2v1 him. Now B-Hill going to be going under control of eUnited. And you see Powerz trying to get away with a long shot. It's going to be Lancered out here, crawling up to the top side of the heaven. But I don't know if he's going to get revived yet. TJ's going to go down in the middle of the map as well, but Powerz does get picked up. Now Powerz looking across here. Body shot there, onto one. Won't be able to find the headshot. Kenny in the middle of the map is going to lose his head. He tried to help his teammates, and you cannot stand and Lancer way for too long. Powerz finds back-to-back headshots looking for Cellz to make it 3, but he says, I got a Nasher on my back. I can make this easy on myself. Full red, down and dead. Powerz with a 3-piece here in round 4.
I like that, though. CinimaZ not overstepping his boundaries. I like how he backtracked towards that neutral, trying to make a sneaky play and get that elimination. Powerz taking a little bit of high ground along with TJ. Kenny in a very, very sneaky spot as well, but if any of these players get caught out at the wrong time, it could certainly cost them their life and could cost them their lead here. I see the battle going down towards the high side. Powerz finally gets dropped by SuMuNs. They're trying to sandwich this next player in TJ, who comes up with one down onto SuMuNs. He knows better than to leave that player down and allow Kenny to try to get that revive. But Kenny, he's playing defensive. They're actually going to try to trade homes, hoping the reinforcements will be there to both of these players.
Kenny gets a revive here onto CinimaZ. CinimaZ and Kenny are now going to be pushing into the C-Hill. Triple cap domination will be interrupted as the A-Hill will get capped up in favor of eUnited. Retirement with a okay lead here, only about 30 or 40 points. That's only about 20 seconds or so for them to get it back. Kenny's going to hop over the cover just in time to get revived by CinimaZ. C-Hill still not getting capped up at all. Triple cap domination starts to tick in as Kenny has to take a fight, has to try to find a win, but there it is. All she said and done. 4 rounds up, 4 rounds down. eUnited making things look oh so easy here early in their Friday campaign against retirement.
I think that's why I'm still hoping and praying for the drop shot, Colin. I'm still hoping and praying for it because it takes a little strategy away from the initial. It gives up a lot of the information of where players are going to be. And if you find yourself successful, whether you get 2 players eliminated off of that initial or even a squad wipe, you know exactly where they're going to spawn from. You know where the next rotation is going to come through from. So it's going to be big. On the side of eUnited, you know, for them, it's business as usual. You went ahead and got your incense towards the top side of the map. Now you start building towards the low side. And down 4-0, it looks like they want that instant kill potential for that initial battle, but where do you bring the instance? Do you bring them over towards you in a possible 1v1? Do you bring them towards Sniper in the team fight? And that's why I want the drop shot.
3 players will be moving toward the middle of the map. Nobody will go after that initial incendiary pickup. Powerz will tag up Cellz. Cellz is going to have to take his cubby corner. He's going to get stunned out as well. Kenny has taken over that baby steps ledge as he will get absolutely flown out by TJ. Now TJ getting tagged up from multiple angles. He has to rotate back. Powerz will be safely out of the closet with his long shot in hand. And we'll be pushing back towards Cellz. Sees the misroll, hits the body shot. Cellz goes down. Easy meat shield pickup for Dyslexic. Now looking across to the F-Hill. We're going to see 3 players coming off of respawn area, trying to play defense at their home. Just try to buy some time for the revives and the respawns to come in and come through. Powerz, though, with a headshot will re-shut down that next wave of retake from the side of retirement. SuMuNs almost leaves himself out in the open, just a hair too long. 3 shots left. Those large caliber bullets can really do some damage. And Jacob, he's looking to do even more as SuMuNs will get it down, but TJ there on the flank gets the kill.
Connects with a headshot off screen onto Cellz. Nobody's learning. Nobody is learning their lesson right now. Powerz is just committing murder one after the next. Headshot after headshot. 18 and 2. I'm not even going to throw up the 5 assists because I feel like Powerz is a little disappointed. He said that was 5 more eliminations that somebody on my team took away from me as Dyslexic presses forward. He wants that positioning. Even though there's no hill at her, that's how you get the angle and continue to trap him. He goes back to back. There goes 2. With the help of Powerz, he completes the hat trick. Cellz fresh off of the respawn. You better watch out. better not shout because Dyslexic is coming to town and he's headhunting, gets another elimination, solidifying another spot as he goes into a 1v2. He's doing damage, he's causing commotion. Kenny though and SuMuNs work together to get one kill, but both of those players turned at the wrong time as eUnited take advantage. Everybody getting a piece of that pie, and they get the final round to complete their perfect run in their first series of the day.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, Jacob. I am utterly impressed with teams that go full on and full out against squads that you should win against. When you're that definitively a favorite in a matchup, you should come out and 3-0 them. And eUnited proved just that. They said, look, we're not gonna give up any inch. We're not gonna give up any centimeter. We do not give them another foot forward on the map. They did their job succinctly. They did it perfectly. Hats off to eUnited. They took care of business in a way that very few can, and it was dominating.
I like the way you said it, man. No matter what team they were going up against, they just had their goal, they had their game plan, and they stuck with it because they're just on fire. And the way you keep that fire, the way you keep that momentum is to not sleep on anybody. Focus on that victory at the end of the day, and you got to give it up to Powerz, looking deadly as ever, man.
Without a doubt, I mean, Powerz has just looked absolutely unbelievably good the entire matchup. We called out that he didn't die. I believe he was 10-0, maybe 11-0. Before he went down to a flank, before going down and getting taken out. But I mean, you know what? In that matchup, I don't think he cared. He was like, 1 or 2 deaths. That don't look so bad on the stat sheet. I think what you got to know, though, is if you want to think about stats, if you want to think about how this matchup got broke down, and there's only 3 men on the planet that can break it down like a shotgun, baby. And that is Fallout Ribs and Ryan, our analyst desk, 3 of the greatest of all time to ever do it.
Bring them in. There you are. Welcome.
What's going on, guys?
Look, this kind of works out for me because I've always looked up to all 3 of those guys, and now they're above me. It's nice. It's nice for me.
I mean, I want to say me too, but it's more of a
the actual go. Poor PR. Hey, appreciate it, gentlemen. Great job in the cast. Absolutely dominant performance coming through from eUnited. But again, that's what you expected. Obviously, they're playing against a team that hasn't been grinding, isn't a full squad, kind of a pickup squad for this tournament. We knew they had potential, but eUnited looking pretty damn good there, Ryan.
Yeah, they certainly did. You can see the level of confidence these players have, right? It doesn't matter who's in front of them. Powerz basically running around like a rank match. You saw what he did with the sniper in his hand. I mean, he was saying in his interview, right? They play the game sometimes like it's a wager. They play with the utmost confidence, and that's basically what they did. Map 1, Map 2, and Map 3.
Yeah, Riz, one more GC. I know you were observing the action.
Yeah, just more of what we saw throughout the end of Pro League. I mean, eUnited's playing at a different level. They're so fun to watch. I mean, this duo is a duo we never expected to have, but it's a duo we always wanted, and that's the duo of Dyslexic and Powerz. Both of those players, every time I switch to their screens, because yes, I am observing them, I'm just expecting a highlight. I'm expecting Dyslexic to just skate on somebody like we saw at the very end of that last map. He just moves different. And then on the side of the Powerz, he's just so effective, so efficient. I don't even have to say he's flashy because he's not. He just does exactly what you need him to do every single time. Whether he has a power weapon in his hand, whether he needs to make a shotgun play, whether he needs to rotate. He's quite honestly the perfect player, and I'm not hyping it up any more than it needs to be. The best player in the world.
You think about some of the winning formulas we've seen sort of in recent sort of 4v4 Gears 5, right? You look back at the KCP team that was winning so much. One of the biggest reasons why they were so good is they had that insane slaying duo of a Cellz and Precision. Of course, Precision's not playing anymore. Now you look at kind of who is the kind of most insane slaying duo on my screen. It's got to be Powerz and Dyslexic at this point. I mean, they are just playing at an insane level. The amount of skill between those 2 guys alone is ridiculous. This team composition is just very, very strong, right? TJ on his own could be a main slayer on almost any other team, right? And then you have, of course, Demise who's kind of doing all that dirty work, making sure that his teammates are always in a position to succeed. It's a very well-rounded team.
So I gotta ask you this. I think I know the answer. Oh, maybe I don't. Do you think it's retirement? Obviously, coming back from retirement, being a little dusty, had to shake off the cobwebs a little bit, or is it just United looking that good?
I want to go ahead and say Colin made a good point. I mean, when you are on the side of retirement, he said, like, what can you say to CinimaZ? Like, you know, how can you deal playing against, you know, former champions and players that are just stronger than you? All you can do is just go out there and play your best every single match. This is the first match of the weekend. They're going to have pool play matches. They'll get into bracket, whether it's lower bracket, top bracket. There's plenty of time for them to come around and prove themselves. Obviously, playing against eUnited, second match of the day, early on Friday, it's not preferable. But it's not the end of the tournament for them. So, hey, retirement, they still have a lot to prove. These are players that have proven themselves in the past, but this roster can still do it. You know, we'll have to wait and see. They're not going to be able to take out United, though. I mean, I don't really think there is a team I can confidently say that could take out United. Retirement's definitely not going to be that team.
It's maybe a combination of both, but mostly United is looking that good. Right? Anything to add to that?
No, I think Jordan's right. I mean, it's never fun to kick off your tournament against basically who a lot of people probably have as the favorite to win. But same time, right? Get that out of the way early. To me, you guys know I love this measuring stick analogy, right? To me, it's always a good way to see where you actually stand. This is a team that a lot of people think will win the event. Obviously, you have quite a bit of work to do if you're going to be a team that might win this event. So, of course, this retirement team, I know that they probably are one of those teams coming in with not a lot to lose, but these are guys who are competitive. These are guys who want to make money. These are guys who want to be there on Sunday. So I'm sure they're taking that loss in stride and seeing what they can do better next time.
Right. We'll see if they can take home any bit of that $120,000 prize pool this weekend. But it's not just United versus retirement. Let's take a look at the pool play standings overall and how things are shaking up here. It's been a couple hours, a couple 3-0s on stream. We're breezing, we're cruising. And guess what? As you'd expect, Pittsburgh Knights wins their match. Hive wins the match in their bracket. Fury 1 wins their match over RDMK in addition to eUnited. Rebel and Team Queso undefeated. They'll be playing against each other here in a moment. And of course, Pioneers and Rise undefeated in their groups as well. So pretty cookie cutter here, Ribs. Exactly what you'd expect, right?
Yeah, not yet. Not an upset yet. I mean, we always get them. It's only a matter of time before there's a big upset. All of our predictions get thrown off. But so far, the team that was favored to win has won. And we still have a lot of great matchups that are going to be hard to call moving forward. But so far, the teams that are supposed to win are looking strong, and that's exactly what they want to do moving forward.
Yep. And if possible, not to throw a little wrench in the mix here for our production team, if we could take a look at the schedule once again and talk through the schedule of kind of what's to come. There's some interesting matchups we want to make sure to highlight because you're right. There are certainly some matchups where there could be some upsets here. Ryan, of the screen, what stands out to you?
Absolutely far and away that match on the bottom. Rise versus Pioneers. That is a match when I looked at the schedule I was circling. I could not wait to see those two teams go at it because there's two teams that right now feel like they're playing at a fairly similar level, right? But these are two teams that expect nothing but the highest success, right? You have the Pioneers, still the defending champions, right? They kind of ended the middle of the pack in Pro League, right? Not something that probably they expected, not something that a lot of people expected, but you know those guys coming in expecting to win. On the side of Rise, very, very accomplished players. They bring back Inzem. Those guys are expecting this to be the team that gets it done. So I'm very excited to see these guys go at it. Like I said, both these teams are coming into the event with very high expectations, not only from themselves, but from those around them. So to me, that is absolutely the match.
Ribs, I got to ask you, Pittsburgh Knights versus Hive. It's a matchup right before that. Based on what you saw from Hive earlier, you think there's any chance that Hive could potentially upset PK?
Oh, yeah. You know me. I'm Joe Positive. There's always a chance. But no, that was the match I was going to talk about. And of course, Hive looking good. Tony said it in his interview. He said, what former teammate do I want to play against? All of them. So he'll have his chance to play against his ex-teammate just from the last event, Fiercely, who has been doing amazing on the Knights. And keep in mind when we talked about matchups earlier, Knights, their only loss in Pro League came to another Latin American team in Rebel. So maybe, here today, their only chance of getting upset is against another Latin American team in Hive. So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, those last two matchups, definitely a reason why we saved them for the end of the day. Those are going to be some fun ones.
Oh, baby. I'm excited for those matchups. That is for sure. Of course, our next matchup on the main stage will be Rebel versus Team Queso. We'll have a lot to talk about in previewing that one in just a bit. To just get word that we do have our interview live and ready. Jordan Curl, the one and only, with arguably the best player in Gears of War right now. Powerz, obviously, there's a couple players of Cellz and others would like to say differently. But hey, let's go ahead and throw it over to Jordan alongside Powerz.
Yeah, thanks, Fallout. What a dominant win for you guys, Powerz. Huge one for you also individually. 18-2 in the third map, but overall, just such a big win. And really, it was so fast. If you blinked, you pretty much missed the game. How do you feel after a dominant victory?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling very confident as usual. It was kind of a easy dub for us. Our mindset going into the game was just have fun and do our thing.
Right. And so I also want to ask you about something you mentioned in the pregame with Colin that you sort of described now that you feel free, like a free man. And obviously, like I said, we all know how dominant you could be. But I was wondering if you could sort of elaborate on what makes this team so good so that you can feel like you can play the way you want to play. And also what's different about this team from the past that you've played with.
I guess you could say we're more. What I mean, I'm more free of. We could take any fight we want, basically. Like, well, like with our last team, we couldn't do that. I feel like we always had that one issue of like making mistakes. Players were uncomfortable. We were more like, I guess, have more structure. But with this team, we're just free. We, like I said last time, we play like a wager. Just
Yeah.
take every fight. If you're confident, you want to take that 1v, take that 1v.
Right, and you got some guys that you played against. Obviously, Kenny had the retirement talk. How did it feel to play against him right now?
I felt it was. I don't know. It's weird. I didn't expect him to come back and we play him, but
Yeah.
it was just. I don't know. It was just a regular match for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Nice. So up next, you've got Fury One Esports. Obviously, you beat them in the Pro League Week 3, 3-0. But looking ahead to that match, how do you feel?
Confident. That's gonna be another 3-0. So gonna.
Are you
into
just
it,
saying 3-0 all weekend? Is that what is that what we should
Yeah, we're not
expect
gonna
from you?
we're not gonna lose a map today or tomorrow. Promise you. That's how confident I am.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you about one last matchup while I've got you, because obviously we won't be able to talk to you later on today, after Fury. But PK was the only team that you guys dropped to in Pro League, but it was week 1, 3-2, very, very close. You know, looking at that team, what do you want to do to try to knock them off? They're obviously trying to get the first major win for Latin America.
With them is just first we should have won that Pro League match. We beat ourselves. We made a lot of mistakes. We watched the VOD and we knew like we should have won that match. But to be honest, we're gonna do what we're doing today. We're just gonna play our game. Trying to start strong against PK because they actually fight back. So they're a really good team. So for us, we're just gonna start strong and do our thing. Like I'm not really worried about anybody this event, to be honest with you. Like PK is just gonna be another 3-0, like I said.
All right, Powerz. I feel like, guys, the word of this interview is confidence, 3-0, all of that. Congratulations again on the win. We've got Rebel versus Team Queso coming up right after the break. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Gears Winter Major presented by the Batman.